Hello everyone. Welcome to today's session on how to frame hypothesis for a research project. After deciding your topic, your objectives and completing literature review, the next important step in research is to frame hypothesis. Many students are confused between hypothesis and objectives. Some write very general statements, some write incorrect or unstable hypothesis. So in this video, we will understand what is hypothesis, why hypothesis is important, how objectives and literature review help in framing hypothesis, step-by-step method to frame hypothesis along with the examples. A hypothesis means a statement which is testable about the relationship between two or more variables. In other words, hypothesis is an assumption that we test using data. So, whatever statement you are making, you have to prove that statement, you have to test that statement with the help of data. Another definition of hypothesis, it answers the question, what do I expect to find from my study? Here, with the help of hypothesis, you are giving clear-cut statement that what you are going to find through this study. Example, there is a significant relationship between training and employee performance. So this statement can be tested using data, so it can be considered as a hypothesis. Why hypothesis is important? Why we have to prepare the statement which is called as a hypothesis? Hypothesis is important because it gives direction to your research. Many times we can find that the topic of the research is same, but every researcher is giving or is coming with the different conclusions. So hypothesis gives direction to your research. It links theory with the data. As mentioned earlier, your hypothetical statement must be testable with the use of data. So, through hypothesis, you are linking theory with the data. After collection of data, it is very mandatory that you should analyze the data by using statistical techniques. When you are applying statistical technique and coming with the conclusion whether the hypothesis is accepted or rejected, it means you are following scientific approach, and whatever the results, you have to define or explain that results which can be considered as conclusions of your research. Let's understand connection between objectives, literature review and hypothesis. Hypothesis is not written randomly or casually. It is always based on objectives, literature review and research gap. So literature review tells us what previous studies found and what is missing. Objectives tells us what we want to study. Hypothesis tells us what we expect to find. So the sequence is, first define the objectives, do the literature review, find the gap, and then frame the hypothesis. Let's understand step-by-step method to frame hypothesis. Step 1. Identify key variables. Variables means the factors which are vary or which are very important from the research perspective. So, step 1. From your topic and objectives, identify two variables. One is independent variable, another is dependent variable. For example, if the topic is impact of training on employee performance. So, impact of training is one factor, employee performance is another factor. We can understand that employee performance is depend on impact of training. So, employee performance is dependent variable, training is the independent variable. Step 2, which is very interesting, convert objectives into relationship statements. Suppose your objective is to study the impact of training on employee performance. As we have seen, there are two factors or two variables, training and employee performance. So we have to create relationship between these two variables. So our hypothesis will be there is a significant impact of training on employee performance. So we have changed the words to study replaced by the word there is a significant. So from objectives we have framed hypothesis statements. We have studied types of hypothesis. There are two types of hypothesis, null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Both are necessary for statistical testing. So step 3, frame null and alternative hypothesis. So alternative hypothesis, which is symbolized by H1, states that relationship exists. So generally alternative hypothesis defines or explains that relationship is available or is exist. So our alternative hypothesis will be there is a significant relationship between training and employee performance. Null hypothesis, which is denoted by H0 or H0. Null hypothesis always states no relationship exists. So our statement becomes there is a no significant relationship between training and employee performance. I hope now it will be very clear for you how to make or how to frame a hypothesis, how to frame null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Once hypothesis has been framed, you have to ensure that your hypothesis must be testable. So you should ask yourself, can I collect data for this? Can I apply statistical tools to test the hypothesis? If yes, then it is good hypothesis. So there are certain guidelines for writing good hypothesis. First, hypothesis must be clear and simple. Secondly, it should be based on literature review. Third, it must be testable using data. Fourth, it should show relationship between variables. Generally, avoid vague words like good, bad, best. Do not write very long sentences. Do not write hypothesis as a question. Example of wrong hypothesis: is training useful for employees? You are not going to ask question to yourself. You are coming with the solution. So you should write that training is useful for employees or training has a significant impact on employee performance. So for better understanding, I am giving some example. This is example from marketing. Customer satisfaction towards online shopping. This is your topic. So your objective to study factors affecting customer satisfaction. Now you have to frame the hypothesis. So alternative hypothesis, which indicates that there is a significant relationship exists. So our statement will be there is a significant relationship between website quality and customer satisfaction. Now you may be surprised that where the question comes website quality or where the parameter has come website quality. So here we are considering the factors affecting. So through literature review, you should make a list of factors and from that factors you make the comparison with the customer satisfaction. So there is a significant relationship between website quality and customer satisfaction. This is our alternative hypothesis. Now our null hypothesis will be there is a no significant relationship between website quality and customer satisfaction. Let's see the example from HR. So the topic is impact of motivation on employee productivity. So we can find easily two variables. One variable is motivation, another is employee productivity. So our alternative hypothesis will be motivation has a significant impact on employee productivity. Second, null hypothesis, motivation has no significant impact on employee productivity. I hope now you are clear with the concept of framing hypothesis. So here is another example of finance. This is interesting example. Suppose topic is investment behavior of salaried employees. Now we can find that here is only one variable, that is investment behavior of salaried employees. Another variable is missing variable. So through literature review, you can find out the variables. Now, generally income level has an impact on investment behavior. So we'll frame hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis will be income level significantly influences investment behavior of salaried employees. Now, null hypothesis, which generally signifies or mentions there is no relationship. So our statement will be income level does not significantly influence investment behavior of salaried employees. So let's recap. There is a difference between objectives and hypothesis. They are not one and same. Objective says what you want to study, whereas hypothesis defines what you expect to find. Objectives are general in nature, hypotheses are specific and they are testable. To study employee satisfaction is the objective, which is a very general statement, but employee satisfaction is influenced by work environment is a very specific statement, which is hypothesis. In hypothesis, we are considering only two things: employee satisfaction, which is due to work environment. We are not considering other parameters. So there is a difference between objectives and hypothesis. So simple formula to frame hypothesis. There is a significant relationship between, write down independent variable and write down dependent variable. Independent variable has a significant impact on dependent variable. So if you could able to find out dependent and independent variable, it will be very easy for you to frame hypothesis. So to conclude, hypothesis is a scientific statement based on objectives and literature review. Steps to frame hypothesis: first, identify variables. Convert objectives into statements. Frame null and alternative hypothesis. Ensure testability. Follow guidelines. If your hypothesis is clear, your analysis and conclusion will be very clear. I hope this video helped you to understand how to frame hypothesis for your research project. If you find this video useful, please like and share to your friends. Thank you and all the best for your research work.